Hey everyone, welcome back to Devs in the Shed. So for people that are just joining in, Devs in the Shed is all about us building things, and we're generally in our sheds, but it looks like this week might be a little bit too cold in Melbourne, Australia for us, and I think some of us are traveling. So what do we have in store today? We might go for a few new announcements if there's anything, and then from there, Gonzalo is actually joining us. Gonzalo is a SME that works within the realm of Web3 within AWS, and he's built some really cool workshops and some content that he's been taking a lot of AWSs through, actually, that we thought would be really exciting and cool to have him talk through today. Gonzalo, do you want to give us a little bit of a rundown on yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Matt. And first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm a big fan of this show. I've watched all the episodes, so thank you so much. So I've been a developer my whole life. I started my career working as a Java instructor, right? So I've been developing software my whole life. Right now, I'm working as a partner sales solutions architect at AWS, working for startups. So basically, I'm helping our partners, AWS partners, to help our customers in the startup segment.
Cool.
Very nice. No, that's cool to hear. And we'll go a little bit into kind of like give everyone a bit of a taste as to what you're wanting to cover today, and then we might quickly flip to some announcements before we dive right in, right?
Sure. Yes. So basically, I'm very passionate about Web3. I'm passionate about software development as well. So what I've been doing is creating these workshops to start teaching people about Web3 development from the very foundational part. So what I want to show you is how to develop software, how to develop smart contracts. We'll talk about what is a smart contract in a second, but how can you develop that for Ethereum? And I just want to show this audience why I'm so passionate about it, and hopefully some people could get passionate as well about it.
Well, so the week that Matt and myself and Aaron were away we were at our offsite, and for people that are that might wonder how at AWS we're able to have a good overview of so many different services and technologies. We have a concept of TFC, and TFC is Technical Field Community, and Aaron's wearing that TFC hat there. And a couple of weeks ago, like we all attended a specific session that was in Singapore, and that helped us look at different services and technologies that we may not ourselves be specialists in, and help to upskill in that area. And Gonzalo ran his Smart Chains Web3 session for a bunch of us at that area there, and it was good to get a reminder of what it's like to work with Solidity. And I've sort of touched on it, but it was probably about 2.5 years ago, so I hadn't done it for a long time. And Web3, blockchain, smart contracts, like the first time you see it, it's kind of difficult to wrap your head around what is exactly going on there. By the end of the session, you're like, all right, conceptually, I understand what is happening here. It all came back and I remembered. So it was a really good session. So, and I know there was like good feedback on that session, Gonzalo. The room was packed. Like I was sitting on the floor for most of the time. So yeah.
Nice.
Excellent. And I think, Paul, the last time I did Web3 Ethereum smart contract Solidity type stuff, I think was actually in a user group that you had run about 2 years ago for AWS programming tools.
That's right.
Yeah,
I remember that. That was
a Melbourne user group for AWS. Yep.
Yeah, it was a developers user group, and we built our own token. That's right, and we made ourselves like billionaires. We were all billionaires. We had lots of tokens. It was really fun. If anybody wants to buy some, I'll sell them at a discounted rate.
Nice. Cool.
So we're gonna. I guess you're gonna say the announcements, Matt.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Now I know that when Gonzalo will introduce like the syntax and the full aspects of what Solidity looks like, and when I say visual, I mean like what the syntax actually looks like. What it looks like as code. It looks kind of like it's JavaScript, or Java. Which triggered me about one specific post. I used to do a lot of work on the JEE work, and Corretto 19 is now generally available. So that's our implementation of like Open JDK. So if you are looking to, have a little more control or want to align more to our licensing model around the open JDK for you to run your environments, go ahead and have a look at that. A couple of new features have come out. So if there are any Java developers, they might want to consider running their platform on that. So I thought that was interesting to mention. And I think Aaron had one as well.
Yeah, this one's kind of exciting for me, coming from a background of distributed and embedded systems. Let me just drop the link here. The IoT device management secure tunneling now actually supports simultaneous TCP connections. I'm trying to drop the link in. There we go. So now supports basically simultaneous TCP connections. What that means is now you can do like SSH, VNC, RDP, even HTTP based tunnels TCP/IP tunneling basically would allow you to set up, like as an example, like a web-based application on a device that gives you real-time monitoring of what's happening in the field now. So there's a lot more capability of having not just your device is sending back, but you can now do bidirectional, because you can do multi-tunneling or multi-connection tunneling to enable whatever it is. If you're sending data up and sending it back out again, and then having your IoT device with a little web server on it, so you can access that locally and then also access everything up in the cloud. It sort of really opens up the capabilities of what IoT in AWS can do now. So exciting one for me.
Cool.
Matt, did you have one?
Yeah, Daily Push is kind of right. Like I think when I did look at it, I haven't really given it a go myself, but it did sound a little bit like how Tailscale works for like a tunnel network, right? Which is kind of cool. Yeah. The one that I did have is on CDK. I'm just going to post it in the chat for everyone as well. CDK used to be able to get a visualization. Well, you still can actually, so I'll correct myself on that. You can get a visualization of like the assets that you're creating within Visual Studio Code if you're using the AWS toolkit. It looks like we've got a bit of an extension to that. So now with CDK, you can have a simple way to basically view all the mapped resources and how they correlate back to CloudFormation. So this is something that sits within the CloudFormation console. So like when you usually go down to CloudFormation level from CDK, it's hard for you to piece together like what that originally looked like in CDK landscape. So if you go into the CloudFormation console, there's a new capability that I'm going to have to explore and try out myself. That will help me work out like, hey, yeah, this is what my CDK looked like in the past, right? It'll be interesting. I don't know how often I'll use that, considering I'll have access to my CDK. But I'm thinking if I look at other projects that have been built with CDK, I could then see that these are CDK projects, and I can see how they're initially structured, which could be handy. And then when I go and talk to that other team, I can ask, hey, can I have a look at your CDK in more detail? I want to have a look at this particular construct and how you're doing that. So that's it in terms of the new features, I think. Is there anything else from Yep.
Well, given that we're on new features, why we're seeing why we see some of the not as shiny features coming out, like a lot of patch releases and continuous innovation on top of existing features, is a reminder to all of our audience that reInvent is on late November, and there will be at least 3 of us here. I'm not sure about Gonzalo, that will be attending reInvent this year. So super excited about that. I'll paste in a link if anybody wants to learn more about the event. There's 50, 60,000 people, maybe more. We'll all be getting together, like thousands of sessions. It'll be an amazing experience.
We will be there.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and there's going to be a lot of cool things that are going to be coming out. And you get I think one of the main things that I really like about it is you get to talk to the people that are actually making, the stuff at AWS, and the SMEs are all there as well. So if you've got a particular technology, we have many different technologies, and you want to find out more about it, outside of learning yourselves and working with AWS people that are local to your time zone, it's really cool to kind of go there and then have direct access to these specialists during the event. So I think let's pivot a little bit. Let's swap back to Gonzalo, because I know everyone's probably really excited to explore Web3. How do we want to start this, Gonzalo? Do you want to give everyone a bit of an overview? Actually, the first question is on chat. Who has played with Ethereum network, developed a smart contract, maybe, who has like built something with Web3. That way Gonzalo kind of knows who he's aiming the conversation at. We can start at the very basics very quickly first. I think that might be what Gonzalo might do, so everyone can kind of work from the same base before we explore some of the good, awesome work that he's done. Does it sound like a good plan, Gonzalo? And let us know in the chat to help us out.
Absolutely. So in the meantime, we can start talking about what it is about. So I don't want to focus too much on infrastructure. I think there is a lot of talking around. It's easy to find material about what is blockchain or how the configuration of a blockchain happens. The most important thing to know is that blockchain, there is no one blockchain. Blockchain is a technology, but there are different blockchains. Bitcoin probably is one of the most popular. Ethereum is another one that is popular as well. So, but for the developers in the room, I would say let's simplify the infrastructure part and let's think about this like an immutable layer, okay, that is also distributed, so nobody can actually control it, right? So there is no censorship, there is no centralized authority, okay, of this. I would say just to simplify it. And some things you need to know about is, well, first of all, well, let's talk about what is Web3, okay? So there are different definitions of what is Web3. That's kind of philosophical. Some people disagree about the term, okay? But I don't want to go there right now. So, but just to sum up for the new people in this topic, Web 1 is when the beginnings of internet, when basically we had a website and you could just read the information in the website. What we call Web 2 is when we actually started interacting with the website. So think about social media, or that you make a comment, you make a post. So it's not only reading, it's writing and reading. And Web3, what it's adding is ownership as well. So it's reading, writing plus ownership. So now you can own things in internet. So I'm talking about digital assets, I'm talking about cryptocurrencies. So I'll show you some examples because probably it's easier to understand. So I would say that please guys, for sure, please feel free to interrupt me at any time. But the first thing you need to know is that when you're working on the Web3 environment, normally you need a wallet. And let me share my screen if you're happy. Can I?
Yeah, yep. And while you're doing that, Gonzalo, the chat's kind of going out, helping you out in terms of like knowledge. It looks like we've got a lot of people that have a bit of experience. We've had people that have done some mining, some people have made tokens, some people that have owned NFTs and done a bit of CryptoKitties.
CryptoKitties, yeah, that definitely counts.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
So what I'm going to show you is super foundational today. We can have another session that we dive deeper, okay? But basically, you need a wallet, okay? And this wallet is very popular. It's MetaMask. There are different. There is a browser that is called Brave that you can use as well that has a wallet as well. The first step I would tell anyone that wants to explore this is download a wallet. I like MetaMask because when you come here, you can actually ping the extension, the Chrome extension for MetaMask here, okay? And then you have your wallet here, okay? And when you have your wallet, you can create your account, okay? And the interesting part of this is, let's start with the basics. So this is your account. I have some money here. I'll show you that I'm in a test net in a second. So here in this wallet, you can go to what we call the main net, that this is actually Ethereum, and this could be money. This account is a testing account, so I'm happy to show you whatever here because it's just for testing. But also you can play with test nets, okay? And in test nets are the best place to start if you're a developer. And when you come here to the account, you can always see view my account on Etherscan. Etherscan is a very popular, useful tool that you can use for tracking. So in Etherscan, you can see all what's happening in Ethereum. And when you see here, this is the address of my wallet, okay? This is my balance. And then I'm going to show you how each transaction we do can be tracked in Etherscan, okay? So this is the most important thing to know for now. So what else? We talk about test nets. Another important thing is that you need, for anything we're going to do, you are going to need Ether, okay? You can see that I have Ether here. This is fake Ether because I'm in a test net, okay? I'm in a test net that is called Rinkeby, okay? But you could have, again, if you move here to the mainnet. Look, I don't have any Ether here, right? Because I'm not going to expose my own account in this public forum. But basically, you can change here to the testnet, okay? And you can have fake Ether. And the best way to get this Ether is using something that we call faucets. So a faucet is an application that someone really friendly prepare for you, and you can ask for Ether there. So the best way to do it is copying your account, yeah, okay? Copying your account address, that you can see the address is something that is kind of cryptic. Coming to any of the public faucets, this is a popular one, brickandbfaucet.com, pasting your account address here and saying, please send me some Ether. And you will see how this amount in my wallet is going to change. So at this moment is 0.213 Ether. Hopefully, if everything is working, if the gods of the POCs are with us right now, we'll get some Ether there soon. Okay. So I'm going to stop for a second. Any questions so far?
There's one question that Amain has asked, and maybe this is all right. It's a bit of a side segment to what we're exactly doing here. But he said, "How does AWS integrate with blockchain?" And maybe that's just a slight segue to talk about like our managed blockchain service.
Sure. So we have a service that is managed blockchain that allow us to do different things in the blockchain environment. It's supporting 2 blockchains right now. One of them is Ethereum. So, but more than it's failing, there is a 504. Let me try again. Again, these are faucets that are things that very friendly people do. So let me see if we got it. Normally you get it, okay? It's the first time it's actually failing for me. But this is actually a way to get Ether in your account, okay? So try it later. But there are different faucets, okay? I don't want to spend time right now just trying different faucets, available faucets to get Ether, because I already have some Ether here, okay? But you need to be aware that that you can get Ether from the faucets. So actually we created, just give me a second, we created another faucet that is called the AWS faucet here. We don't have too much money there, okay? But I just wanted to show you that you can have there are different faucets to get Ether, okay? So to come back to your question, look, our customers are asking, right, for Web3 developments. This is growing more and more. That's why AWS, we are interested in helping our customers as usual. So and remember that the Web3 side is, let's say, is the blockchain side of an application, but many of the applications that are in the Web3 space also have probably let's call it a Web2 side, right? That you normally have a database, you normally have a UI, you normally use Lambda. So when you have a proper application running, it's not only about the Web3 side, and that's very important to notice. The other important point is any operation you do in the blockchain, you pay for that. And that's why you normally try to reduce the number of operations you do to the blockchain. So that's why I don't think Web3 is gonna change that. So we are going to still have lambdas. We're going to still have non-relational databases. Everything that we have. What we have now is a new capability, and the new capability is the capability of owning, okay, assets in internet publicly.
Let me extend that slightly, because I think there's probably opportunity to have Gonzalo come back for a future episode.
The faucet gave me the money.
So. Oh, cool. Yes, the we've got money from the faucet in the wallet. Let me finish on the integration part, and then you can take over with the rest of building a contract. So obviously, to answer how does AWS integrate? Yes, it's the Amazon managed blockchain, and yes, it's the Ethereum and Hyperledger Fabric are the 2 networks at the moment that it connects with. But I think where Gonzalo and I, like I'll be working with Gonzalo over the coming weeks to help build out more. Where we're looking at is more from the developer space. How can we now start doing this in Lambda, and how can we start integrating Lambda with, say, Amazon managed blockchain with the Ethereum network? So obviously Amazon managed blockchain, Ethereum obviously is a peer-to-peer network. So when we say Amazon managed blockchain, essentially it's standing up a peer, a network, and then you can communicate within your secure AWS account to that node, which then communicates with the rest of the peer-to-peer network. So we'll be looking at tackling it from a developer's point of view. That's why Gonzalo today is showing us, like, we're really not touching on AWS side of things at all. It's like, what is Ethereum? What's Solidity, and what is it? Was it a wallet, basically? And then I think maybe a great opportunity for Gonzalo to come back on a future episode to demonstrate doing some of this stuff in Lambda and working with Amazon managed blockchain and looking at it from more of a AWS angle.
Absolutely. And let me show you a couple of concepts quickly before we jump into the code. One thing you need to know is that Ethereum has other, let's say, denominations, if that's a word. So normally an Ether is expensive, right? So we have what we call Way, G-Way and Way, okay? So we're going to talk about this a lot, but basically this website is important. That is called the Ether Converter. Normally we work in Way when we talk about ETH, that is actually the currency for the blockchain Ethereum. And another thing you need to know is that every time you modify the blockchain, you need to pay for something that is called gas. That basically what you are doing is you are paying a fee for the beautiful people that are running nodes, right, in the blockchain. And there is a reason why they are running nodes in the blockchain, because they get money from that as well. So that's what we call gas. Actually, there is a website that is called Gas Station. You can go to this website as well, where you can see the standard price. By chance, right now is the same value. But normally when you want to modify the blockchain, you say if you want to do it in the standard way or you want this change to happen faster. And when this change is happening faster, normally you need to pay a little bit more of gas. Okay, so I just want to show you how to let's run a hello world code probably, so everyone has a very good idea of this. So this is a needed that is called remits. So you can come here, remits.ethereum.org, okay? And basically, there are different ways to learn how to develop smart contracts. One way, of course, is having a proper application in Python that is using, is compiling, building, and deploying and interacting with smart contracts. An easier way just to learn is using this IDE that is called remits, where basically you can have your Solidity code here, and then you have different icons where you can compile and you can deploy your code to Ethereum. So I'm just going to show you how this is working. So let's see this code, okay? Can you see the code properly, or do you want me to open it a little bit?
Maybe expand it out a little bit, yeah.
Like
there we go.
Nice. So let's start. Normally you add a license. I'll show you more about the license later. You have these comments here. If you are a Java developer, this is very familiar, right? It's very similar to Java. Also, you have what we call the Pragma Solidity, that this is the compiler version you are going to use. This is important as well. And then you will see that the code is very similar to a Java class or C# class, okay? So you have contract, that it would be the equivalent to class, okay, in Java. You have the contract name. Here, I'm declaring an attribute, okay? That this is just a variable type that is an integer, positive integer, right? That I call it my value. And I have two functions, okay? One function is to store a value that is receiving a parameter, okay? And it's assigning this parameter to the attribute. And you have another function that we call it retrieve, okay? That basically is just returning the value. You can see that both functions, that actually is a method, but in Solidity, we call it function. You can see that both are public, okay? So anyone can access this. And you can also see that retrieve has a keyword that is called view. Who can guess? What is this keyword about? Any of you guys can guess this?
I guess that's the ability to retrieve a value that's stored.
From the chain, yeah.
Nice. So this is a function that is actually not modifying the blockchain, okay? A store doesn't have view, so that means that is modifying the blockchain, okay? So when I show you this, you can think about a smart contract like an object that is running in the blockchain, right? So you can keep a state in that object in the blockchain. And then you will see that we can start interacting with this object. And what's going to happen is in the blockchain, all the transactions that are happening to this object are immutable as well. So you can see the whole record of transactions that are happening to this object, okay? So let's compile. To compile, for the ones following, you come here, okay? And you see compile. If you're using a Mac, there is a key, a shortcut that is Command-Shift-S, okay? And whenever this is checked, it's because it's compiled. And then I'm coming here to the deploy part. And here, there are different ways to deploy this. You can deploy this into your browser just for testing because you want to test something quickly, or you can deploy it actually to a blockchain, okay? Let's do it in the browser first. So in the browser, I'm saying remit, virtual machine, London, but they are different. I'm just choosing one. This is an account, a fake account that the Ether is giving me with 100 Ether, okay? Then I'm just going to come down. This is the contract I'm going to deploy, okay? And then I'm just going to say deploy. And this was super quick because this is just happening in my local, in my browser, okay? I'm coming to deploy contracts, okay? And here I can say, I'm going to store a value that is 100, right? And then I'm going to retrieve the value. By the way, you can see here the transactions happening in this part of the IDE, okay? I'm just going to remove it for now because I want you to actually being able to see the code. And I'm going to retrieve the value, 100. Can you see the value here?
Yeah.
Nice. Who can tell me why a store is orange and retrieve is blue?
Write and read.
Isn't it
Right,
one costs money?
Yeah.
One costs money, one doesn't cost money. One costs gas, one
Fuel.
doesn't cost gas.
Yeah, that's it. Gas, that's it. Yeah.
Nice.
Or is it no? Is it gas that costs money to store, or is it Ethereum?
When
And
you
the
store,
more gas you use, the faster it goes.
It's actually Ethereum, but we call it the gas price. So the gas price, if you can see in gas station, the gas price could be 0.0001 ETH or Ether, okay? Remember, the currency is Ether, the blockchain is Ethereum, right? So, but I didn't pay anything to do this, right? I'm just going to come here and I'm going to change the environment. And I'm going to say injected provider MetaMask, and something magical is going to happen. So I'm clicking here, okay? Now I'm connecting, right? Can you see here? So if we can be, that is a test net. There is an account happening here, okay? And let's see, in MetaMask, I can see that this is connected here. If you can see my browser properly, there is an account that is ending in 1397, and it's actually this account that is here, okay? And then what I can do is I can deploy this contract, and now I'm going to actually deploy it in a test net in Rickenby. That is the test net we're working on. And the way Remits knows the test net is because it's connected to the wallet. And when I come into the wallet, here, it's saying Rickenby test network, okay? So I'm going to deploy. MetaMask is just opening, right? And MetaMask is asking me, okay, what is the gas? What is the gas that I'm going to pay for this operation? Because deploying a smart contract is actually modifying the blockchain. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to confirm the operation in MetaMask. And now the process is happening is I'm deploying a smart contract into the test net in Ethereum. So let's give it some time. Actually, I can come here to MetaMask and see this is pending now happening. Contract deployment done. So hopefully you can see this in MetaMask. If I click this operation in the contract deployment, okay, actually I can come to Etherscan, okay, I'm going to open Etherscan, and I can see the operation happening here. It's taking a while because Etherscan takes some seconds to catch up. Let's wait for that. Actually, sometimes I refresh when I want to see the operation happening. It's saying success, okay? It's saying that the contract was created, and if you can see, the contract has an address, okay? There is an address for the contract. I'm going to click on that address, and this is very important, what you're going to see now. Etherscan is recognizing this is a contract because there is a check there, okay? And then if you click into the contract, you actually can see the code. the code is there, okay? And this is very important because one of the important things in the Web3 movement, let's say, is that the code is fully available for everyone. The code of a smart contract is available. Anyone can read it. And this is pretty important. Sorry, let me just cancel this.
There's no way here you can like filter off like 1 cent, you know, from every transaction to a secret hidden bank account behind the scenes. Like it's completely transparent to anybody that wants to look at what that contract is actually doing.
Yes. So normally developers need to deploy to publish the code of the contract. At this moment, it's happening automatically because I've been deploying this code many times. And what's happening is Etherscan is smart enough to know the code and just publish it. But normally there is a process to publish the code. Actually, when you are actually working with a proper development environment, the way to do this is, for example, you have a Python application or JavaScript application. So you have two languages. You have Solidity, that is the code to do your smart contracts, and you have a supporting language like Python, where you compile, you deploy, and you interact to your smart contracts. And when you are publishing, when you are deploying, there is a flag where you say publish the code automatically. So as a user of Web3, I've never would interact to a smart contract where I cannot see the code. Maybe there are some exceptions, but normally I wouldn't do it. So this is very important because this is opening a new world of possibilities, right? So it's transparent what's happening. Normally in software development, people try to hide the code in a way. In this way, this is totally transparent. And of course, this is a hello world. So maybe the functionalities are not that clear yet, but this is an important concept. Any questions, guys?
There was a question, and I don't know the answer to this. So Memdial asked, are secrets possible? Like what happens if you needed some sort of stuff? I don't know, like if you had to embed a secret or something, like what would you do? Or is that not something that would exist?
Well, probably, I don't know about any way. I would say that if you need a secret, probably you wouldn't do it in a smart contract. Probably that's part of a different part of the application that is happening. Normally, smart contracts are for things that are transparent. And the ability you are getting with this is, I'll show you later about how you can transfer money, between people with a contract. Sorry, Aaron, go there. You were saying
I was going to say that I have seen it done once, but it was a encrypt decrypt, right? So you supply an encrypted key, but somebody else has to have the public key to decrypt it. So basically pushing in an encrypted value into the contract. But to Gonzalo's point, like the whole point of blockchain is for like visibility. You don't want to be using the blockchain to store, secrets.
Yes, I want to show you some better use cases or more interesting, okay? So I'm going to come quickly here. I'm going to show you this code. I'm not going to run it for the sake of time, but I want to show you that you can have more complex structures with Solidity. So in this case, you have, I call it this store value for people, where you have a structure where you call people and you say a name and a value. So imagine you want to save the favorite number for different people. So you can say Matt 7, Aaron 3, Paul 4, okay? And then you can have arrays. Look at this. It's an array of people. And then you can have a map. Please don't get overwhelmed with the syntax. It's just another programming language. After you start working with this, you get used very quickly to that. But basically, what you need to remember now is you can have an array, you can have a map, and this is a map a string to value. And basically, I'm keeping this map where I say, Matt likes number 4, Paul likes number 3, okay? So you can have maps, and you can have functions to add things to an array with people.push, for example, here. And you can add values to a map as well, okay? So I'm going to show you a cooler example. I call it fun project, okay? Let's say, for example, that you want to, you have an idea, a very good idea, and you have been talking to investors and nobody believes in your idea, but you believe there is a market and you believe there are people behind your idea, okay? So you could create a smart contract to gather funds. You could create a smart contract and say, guys, whoever wants to give me money to develop this idea, please use this smart contract. And of course, normally you don't give the smart contract, you open a website and this website is talking to the smart contract. But you can say, give me money, and based on some rules, Whenever these conditions happen, I'm going to return you 10% or 20% of whatever you gave me, okay? So I'm going to show you this basic code about how to gather money in a smart contract, okay? So the code, again, Pragma Solidity is the compiler. Font project is kind of the design, right? It's kind of the class that you're creating. I'm creating a map with address, and this is interesting, right? So there is a type in Solidity that is called address. And who can guess? What is this address? Address of what?
That would be the address of the wallet where you're going to store the funds.
Yeah, the wallet.
Nice, it's a wallet. So we keep the address of the wallet that gave me money and how much money they gave me, okay? So I'm going to keep this record here in the map. Who gave me how much, right? I created an array that I call it funders. So basically we have all the addresses that have given me money. And I have two functions here, fund and withdraw, okay? So give me money, and there is an important keyword here called payable, okay? That means this is a function that not only can receive parameters, but also can receive money, okay? So Ether, okay? And without going too deep into the syntax, basically what I'm doing here is I'm saying to the map I created, a message.sender, that is actually the address of the one that pressed the button that called the function fund, plus equal message.value. Message.value is how much money you are giving me. So I'm keeping this map of how much Matt gave me, how much Aaron gave me, how much Paul gave me, okay? And I'm just adding this founders.push, where I'm adding this founder into the array if I don't have it yet. And I have another function that is called withdraw, that is payable as well because can move money. And please don't care about this one. I'm just resetting the map and resetting the address, the array. But the important line is this one. In this line, if you can see it, what I'm doing is I'm saying payable to the message.sender. So whoever pressed the button withdraw, okay? Transfer. I'm looking for the address of this. This is the contract that is executing .balance. So in a nutshell, again, please don't be confused with the syntax. You will get it if you make attention to this code. But basically what I'm doing is whoever is calling this function gets the money that this contract has, okay? Let's run it. So I'm going to compile. I just compile it here. I'm going to run it actually in the blockchain. Let me show you.
So I guess like at the end of what you'd see is like an array of effectively like structures. It's got an address with an amount and another address with another amount, and then you could like increment that amount if you decided to fund this thing twice.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because maybe I gave some money, but I realized, oh my God, this project was amazing. I want to give you more money because I want to get more of this. Okay. So I just ran it. Let me see what MetaMask is saying here. Contract deployment. I actually want to go to this address. Let me go here in Etherscan. Let me show you this. So it's saying this is a contract, but the value is 0 Ether. Can you see? It's 0. This contract doesn't have money yet. Okay. Let me just refresh it to ensure that it's properly done. Let's wait. It's taking a while. And one of the reasons why, if you start diving deep into this, you will see that we have a concept of layer 1 and layer 2 blockchains. And the reason of that is that blockchain layer 1s are normally busy. And then you have another layer that is helping to this is a very big simplification, but what's happening is they are aggregating transactions to make less transactions into the layer 1 blockchain. But if I'm coming to the contract here, you can see that
I've got a question for you, Gonzalo. Like I know that
sure.
People might wonder this question, and I wonder myself actually because I don't know the answer. But we have we have like the Ethereum network, and we have gas, and it costs money to send money around, and therefore people that are running a node receive some money because they're like providing something to the network.
Yes.
Like when there's the test network, who pays for it? Like, or is that just the goodwill of the community that say we want to do it? Like, how does that work?
There are some sponsors that are running these nodes. Actually, the same of faucets. So there are some sponsors that, depending on the case, but some of them get advertisement to have these faucets. Also,
Yep.
the community is helping, right? Because there are many
So
companies
people do it because they love it, the same way as open source. But the same way as open source, you've got some people that sponsor it and inject some cash in as well.
Absolutely. Spot
Okay.
on.
All right. Thanks.
Awesome. Look at this. This contract has 0 Ether, right? This is the contract. I'm gonna keep this. Let me close some tabs so we keep it simple. Let's say I want to give 0. Do you remember ETH converter? So I'm going to say I'm going to give to this contract 0.005. Okay, Ether. Okay, I'm gonna get the weight value. I'm gonna come to my remits. My contract should be here. Let me remove this one. This is an old contract. Well, okay, this one fund project. I'm gonna open it, and I'm going to give some. What's happening here? Sorry, I got the wrong contract here. Let me deploy again. Sorry about that. I just lost it. And this is one of the disadvantages of working with remits, that if you refresh the browser, you lose the access to the contracts you already deployed. Okay, so I'm just deploying again. Hopefully soon we're going to have it here. Fund project here. And I can fund, but look at this. Fund, the function fund, if you have it here, there is no parameter. That's why I cannot add the value here. In the remits UI, I need to come here to value, paste the value, okay, that I want to give. That is a value in way. Come in here and say fund, okay? As I'm changing the blockchain, MetaMask is opening and giving the confirmation for that, okay? And I need to wait for that operation to happen. And actually, I can go to Etherscan and I can see the transaction where I send money to this smart contract. And I can go to Etherscan and I can see the money in the smart contract. So a very important concept is that the money is not in a map, it's not in an array. You can keep track of how much money someone is giving you in the map or in the array, but actually is a smart contract the one that owns this money, okay? Let's quickly come here to MetaMask. Let me show you. Fund, can you see this operation happening here? The operation fund, I'm gonna click it. I'm gonna come to view on Block Explorer. I'm gonna come to the contract. There is some clicks that you need to do, but you get used to that. So I'm coming to the contract, and you can see here, there is some Ether here, right? This is the money I gave to the contract. So the interesting part of this is that now you can create conditions, and depending on those conditions, you can return money for people. So let me give you a clear example. Let's say, for example, you are doing, without trying to promote any brand, but this is a good example, you are doing an application for Airbnb, okay? But one of the rules is that people pay for the accommodation, but before, when they go, they have the first hour to see the place, and if they don't like it, they get full refund, right? So they could go to the website. So, okay, they pay for this. The money is in the contract. The person doesn't have the money yet, the owner of the accommodation. But when they go there, in the first hour, if they don't like the accommodation, they just go to the website, they press a button, and they get the money back, right? No people in the middle, no discussion. So this is one of the things that Web3 is enabling. So when you think about the smart contract, think about a very powerful way to create rules that everyone understands and everyone, comply with those rules. So, but I'm coming here and I'm just going to say withdraw. But actually in MetaMask, I can change accounts. I have different accounts. So let me show you something cool. I'm going to change the account. I'm going to change to my account number 2, okay? And then in remits, this is changing to account number 2 automatically because it's connected. And I'm saying withdraw. And I'm going to get the money. So basically what I did is I used this smart contract to pass money between my accounts. So in a nutshell, anyone can come to withdraw and get the money. Do you guys see any problem with that?
Well, you just stated the problem is that anyone can come to the contract and withdraw.
It was a silly question, right? But anyway, yes. So there is a security hole in this contract, right? So people can start giving money, but the first person that realized, because the code is public, that comes here and say, oh my God, this function is open, I can just click it, gets the money, right? So this is a very, very bad security thing. So security is important in smart contracts as well. If you want to know the solution, I'm just going to show you quickly. You could come here. I created another piece of code here. What I'm doing, by the way, I can share this code to people if you want later, and you can explore it because I know we are going very quickly. But basically, you can have an address where you say owner, okay? The owner of this contract. And in the constructor, you can say when the contract is published, you can keep that value. So message.sender is assigned to the owner, okay? And then in the function, you can say withdraw, ¿verdad? Is only owner, okay? And there are libraries where you can just add an annotation and say this function can be only called by the owner, okay? So I don't want to go into the code details for this, but you need to know that you need to get those considerations, especially because now the code is public, so it's actually easier to detect any vulnerability in the code, okay? Cool, I'm going to stop for a second. Any questions so far?
I think we're going through. There's a lot of discussion happening in the channel at the same time, so we're talking and answering questions as we go. But this is great. Like keep going. Let's look at how we can stop people from. Well, obviously the only owner. Continue, please.
Basically, this only owner is a modifier, okay, that we're creating. And what we're doing is we're creating a modifier in Solidity where we define what is only owner, and we say required message.sender. So whoever is pressing the button withdraw in this case, that is the one that has the modifier, has to be equal to the owner that we assign in the constructor. And then this underscore is keep executing the code that you wanted to execute, right? So in this case, it's going to be all this code in withdraw, okay?
Let me jump on that one. That's probably one of my favorite things about Solidity is that one right there, in that if you were to put that above the require, then the code that you're attributing goes before your require. If you put it after the require, I love it. So you can attribute any of your code, and that's the carrot that basically says, here is where the rest of the code goes. I think other languages could learn from that.
Okay, guys, we have two options here because we still have some minutes. By the way, please let me know if we're taking more time than expected, but we have two options. I could show you how to create a token or a cryptocurrency, or I could talk about the potential use cases for this. What do you want me to do?
I wonder if we could get the audience to answer what that would be, because I think both are good. Like, you know, generically understanding what to use for. I think that's the biggest thing that people have asked for, and I guess like not as much recently, but you know, people say like I want blockchain, and it's like, okay, well, what do you want it for? So use cases or real use cases is probably pretty interesting. But making a token or making yourself billions of like tokens is also feels cool. So I'm kind of for use cases, to be honest.
We're actually discussing some of those in the chat as well. Like the example that you gave with Airbnb, you know, the same with Uber. You know, it's very much an escrow style service where you're transferring an amount to the contract, but then the person that it's going to doesn't get that money until a condition is met. With your Airbnb use case, it's, well, if the customer doesn't like the place that they've showed up to, then, and they're not going to stay there, they go refund, the money goes back. If they do like it, then the contract says, right, well, it's past the hour, so let's send the money on to the owner of the property. Same with Uber. When you get in the car or when you book your ride, they withdraw the money from your account and hold on to it until you get to your destination. Once you get to your destination, the driver confirms, yep, we're there, and then Uber sends the money to the driver. So that's an escrow service. I'm not saying that they're using blockchain to do that, but that's a use case for blockchain. So there are many different apps out there of those types of use cases.
Nice. Let me give you another. I think actually creating this mental model, because people challenge this a lot, right? About, okay, what are the use cases? A lot, right? So let me give you my mental model. That doesn't mean it's a perfect mental model, okay? But the first case I see is everything that currently is regulated because of lack of trust. Let me give you an example. Electoral systems, right? I'm coming from Venezuela, where, without going political, sometimes there are protests after elections and all this. And in South America in particular, there are many protests because nobody believes the results of the election. So imagine a system where votes are transparent and everyone can see the results, not because there is a centralized institution, that gives you the results. That you know, like a black box. It's something that actually everyone can get the results because it's not centralized. That's one case. Of course, it's not perfect. There are other considerations like, okay, my vote should be secret, right? So there is the need to solve that problem as well. Another example of this, of regulated industries, think about gambling, right? So in gambling, normally gambling is highly regulated, and there are processes in many countries when developers or the company that is organizing the gambling is making changes into the code, that there is another entity that is regulating and is approving this code, right? When you have this, you can actually see the code. I guess, and by the way, these are my opinions, by my personal opinions. I guess this regulation is gonna be highly reduced because the piece that is calculating dividends or how much you are going to pay to each person, or even what is a winner ticket, right? For this, because it's based on a random number, it's going to be public, right? Another thing I see is think about anything that any application where you want to reward users because of the use of their data or their interaction. So imagine a social network where actually people get money or get tokens or crypto for their interaction. So when they are clicking, when they are stopping, they start getting, because they are feeding data points to the company that is managing the social network. So imagine that automatically, because it's in a smart contract, these people, when they use more the social network, they start getting rewards, for example. That's another use case. The Airbnb is a case, but think more than that, right? Airbnb is just one example of something that could be automated. Another example is NFTs, okay? And people think, when I say NFTs, people think about the Bored Ape and all this. That, to be honest, I think it's not good for the movement, because people think about Web3 about something that is not serious. But think about, for example, ticketing, right? Ticketing for events. And when I buy a ticket for an event, this is mine in the blockchain, in the public blockchain, and I can sell it to anyone out of any platform. But gaming, imagine, for example, I used to play a lot game Age of Empires, right? In the past. Imagine that I'm building a fortress in game Age of Empires, and then I can sell this fortress in another platform that is not the game builder, in a different place, right? In a different marketplace. And actually, I can exchange this fortress that I did in Age of Empires for a car in a different video game. So it's opening up a new whole world of possibilities for trading as well. Of course, the thing with NFTs is someone has to care about the ownership of that, right? But
so like, let's just think about that game one for a second. And because I'm not like, I'm not like really experienced on smart contracts, you can write something that says, hey, I've got this fortress for sale, and the first person that sends me the right amount of money, it automatically transfers the fortress, or the digital implementation of the fortress, or the key to the fortress, over to you, and then it keeps the money and pays the other person, right? That way, that if two people bought it, you can't just keep the money. It'll stop the payment going through immediately. Is that the kind of thing that you're thinking about?
It's simpler than that, Paul. Simpler than that. So there are already public websites. One popular is OpenSea, okay? Where in OpenSea, and if we would have more time, I could show you how to create an NFT and actually how to see the NFT in OpenSea. But OpenSea is very popular, and basically any NFT that you are creating is published in OpenSea. And OpenSea, you can go there, and I can say, for example, if the fortress is an NFT, right? Because the game is making this an NFT, you could go to OpenSea and you could sell it to anyone. But the video game has to care about it, right? So the video game has to go to the blockchain and see, okay, who is the owner of this, and they have to use it, right? So always the platform needs to care about the ownership of that NFT.
Yep. But I think I sort of understand that, and that's the idea of, like, when you buy something, when you buy something in cash, and let's just say, like, that's a phone or a hat or something, whatever it might be. Like, at the same time as I give you the cash, you're giving me the hat, right? And the thing is, like, when you buy something online, or you buy something through the bank, like there's a trust, like, are they going to give me that thing? And when you have like a properly implemented smart contract that's hooked up into the right systems, it's like the moment the money goes in, it can release that automatically to you and guarantee that you will get back what you paid for.
Absolutely. So remember, all the financial systems we have are based on trust, right?
Yeah.
So are based that when I'm going and I sell to you this can, right? And you give me money, the only reason why I'm giving you this can for money is because I trust that someone else is gonna care about this money, right? That's the only reason why. So the same happens here. So if I'm selling this fortress in Age of Empires fortress to someone, that person is paying money for that fortress because they believe that Age of Empires is gonna care about it. So when that person is logging into Age of Empires, they can see the fortress in Age of Empires because the game cares about the ownership of the fortress. So there is for the NFT part, there is a caring part that normally people don't talk about.
Yeah, I think that's the big difference because, well, like I've spent no time with NFTs because I don't really want to own a digital copy of the Mona Lisa or something. Like widely the way it's talked about, like people buying, I don't know, some digital image, right? Or some digital asset, like a hash of the movie or something that says I'm the owner. Like I don't really care about that. Whereas, taking it further to like actual real world use cases, you can understand the relevance and why something like this is important.
Absolutely. You can think about licenses for software as well. So imagine for example, that you are buying a license for a particular software, and then that's yours, and you can sell this to anyone, right? At any moment. Video games. So let's say, for example, I'm buying a video game, but at this moment, kind of you depend. I mean, you're buying a video game online, but can you sell this video game to anyone in a free way? Probably not many platforms. But imagine a video game is an NFT, and then I own the video game, I play the video game, but then I can go to any open platform and I can sell this video game to anyone because actually it's mine and I can sell it, right? So it's opening a whole world of new possibilities. And by the way, I think we are in early stages of this. There is a lot of work to be done.
Yep, I was just sort of writing back to Daily Push and checking out OpenSea and then Unstoppable Domains, and I think there's probably one. I think people have asked for your code earlier in the stream, so I didn't mention that. So I think you guys are working on a workshop to get that available at some point.
Gonzalo, can I drop that into the chat for people? Your GitHub?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Yep.
So this that I've just dropped, that's the code that Gonzalo's been going through today. Like the foundations. I call it a primer, or the basics around the properties and principles that Gonzalo's gone through today around withdrawing, viewing, ownership, payable, all of that stuff. Check that out. Keep an eye on Gonzalo's Bitbucket, where this is GitHub account, and keep an eye on I think Gonzalo on LinkedIn, because I'm sure we'll be announcing as we go. As he said, this is very early days. We're still actually doing a fair bit of work in this ourselves. So over the next few weeks, he and I will be working on stuff. Gonzalo will be adding to his GitHub, no doubt, and also announcing some more stuff that we'll be releasing soon.
And I think
sorry,
I was just going to say, Gonzalo, you're going to have to come back and help us build like an NFT, because like I mean, I didn't think about it, and Daily Push just said it. Like like I'm a swag, like I've got my Devs in the Shed mug, but like I think a Dev Shed NFT would be that would be cool to build.
Awesome. Look, it's easier than you think. So I could come back and we could create an NFT together, and we could publish the NFT. We could sell the NFT. That's a good thing. And actually, in that session, we could create a token as well. By the way, the token is in that repo. It's called My Token. We're using a library that is called Open Zeppelin. That you can think about Open Zeppelin like someone told me this. I'm not convinced yet, but it's kind of a well-architected thing for smart contracts, because it's establishing all the standards for this. You can try this as well, but yes, in that session we could talk about how to create a token, how to create an NFT, and we could talk about a very important concept that is called oracles. That sometimes you are on chain, you are in your smart contract, but you need information from outside, from what we call the off-chain world. Let me give you an example. If you, for some reason, you are starting doing a lottery application, right? And you want to ensure that the minimum entry is $50. How can you know how many dollars is one Ether? So you need this conversion between the currencies, right? Where do you go to get that? Are you going to an API, centralized API? What happens if this API is down? So you are losing the decentralization. So there is this concept of what we call oracles, decentralized oracles, that solves that problem for you. So that's another thing we can talk about.
That sounds good.
So I've just dropped the documentation for Ethereum, the ERC20, but also for those of you who want to go ahead and learn more about the standards for NFTs, I've also dropped the ERC 721, which is the standard, the Ethereum standard for NFTs. And absolutely, we'll get Gonzalo back to do a Devs in the Shed, maybe a Devs in the Shed currency, digital currency, and maybe we can do an NFT and sell it online, sell it live.
Maybe Matt can draw something, or Matt can ask his sister to draw some like cool NFT, and then we can sell it.
Nice. Again, someone has to care, right? About it.
Well, I mean, what are you implying, that people don't care?
Awesome. Yes, happy to come back and talk about it. There is
cool.
Look, guys, this is a rabbit hole, so there is a lot to learn from this. Actually, Aaron, you talk about ECR20. This is a standard for tokens.
Tokens, yeah.
Some years ago, people got crazy and everyone was creating tokens in different ways, and now we have a standard for that. The same for NFTs. The reason why, when you go to OpenSea, and OpenSea can see all of the NFTs that have been published in Ethereum, is because there is a standard, and OpenSea can read that standard. So standards are very important. So yeah, and again, there are patterns, tools. These are a full world of things. So we have a lot of things to talk about.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming along today, Gonzalo. Matt messaged me in the background. He had to leave and jump off to another thing, but he had a great time as well. So yeah, thanks for taking us through it. Tons of interaction with people, so it's pretty obvious that people care about this subject.
Yeah, we'll have to do a bit more NFTs and tokens and digital currency.
Yeah,
amazing.
So
awesome.
Thanks a lot. See you all next week.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks so much, Gonzalo. Bye-bye.
Bye.